Welcome into the Pursuit of Manliness podcast, where we are vigorously equipping men to pursue biblical manliness. My name is Jarrett Samuels. I'm the host of the podcast. Men, as always, I'd like to begin by thanking you for checking out today's podcast episode. Now, when you get the opportunity, please visit thepursuitofmanliness.com. You can do several things there. You can find this episode, the whole catalog of previous episodes. You can sign up for the email newsletter. You can learn about the herd. You can learn about next year's men's retreat. You can learn about Tribe Builder and Tribe. The next session of Tribe 15, the registration is currently open until around the middle of November. You can go to the website. You can learn more details there. I also want to remind you, the midweek A Quiet Life episode is sponsored by Loader Road Goods. LoaderRoadGoods.com out of Coshocton, Ohio. I had the opportunity recently to spend some time with Chris Kent. He is the guy behind Loader Road Goods. Now, I want you to know, we just hit October. It's time to think about Christmas. You say, oh, you're one of those guys. No, listen, if you want to get something from Loader Road Goods, you need 3 or 4 weeks ahead of time. You got to place that order. And also know that any order over $50 gets free shipping. So LoaderRoadGoods.com. The link will be at the bottom of the show notes. Men, it's time for today's podcast episode. Well, men, we just wrapped up, it's done and almost dusted, the 2024 men's retreat. I feel like I have in the past, maybe I haven't, but I feel like I've gotten some guys together that were at the retreat for a call. Maybe it's just a Zoom call between me and them and kind of downloaded from them their experience, their takeaways. And it's always good to get feedback from people who are at the event, at the weekend. And we came off our 4th men's retreat. We were in the last worship service on Saturday. Towards the end, nope, it was towards the beginning because I hadn't spoke yet. And my oldest daughter was back there. She was getting some videos and stuff. And she said, sometimes I can't believe this is happening. And I wanted to say, me too. But her old man got a little emotional, so I had to do what men do, look away and do something else. I can't believe it either. I'm going to talk about several things here. I'll unpack it, but on Thursday night with Tribe, we have kind of a Tribe night, and we had a guy speak to us, and he's walking around the campfire, and we got all these guys in varying degrees of folding chairs and camping chairs and zero gravity chairs, and sitting around listening to him talk about what men do and things. And I'm looking at these guys and I'm thinking, I really can't believe they're here all across the country coming to Indianapolis. I made the joke before, some of you guys live in just these wonderful, beautiful places, and yet you're coming to Indianapolis to either get Airbnb, a hotel, sleep on the ground, sleep in your car. I don't know, but I cannot thank you enough. And if you're at the retreat and I did not get a chance to talk to you, I want to apologize. I was talking to some family Saturday night, and I said, I just wish there was more time to hear your stories of like, why are you here? How did you get here? Who invited you? Those things. And I get some of that, but I wish there was more, So what I want to do, I made some notes last night, just kind of downloading my thought process of how could I communicate this to you guys, kind of reflection of the retreat. And right now, for a very limited time, as a matter of fact, on Sunday, I think it's over, there's a t-shirt. It's kind of tongue-in-cheek, but it's the reality of it a little bit. It says, I survived Men's Retreat 2024. I made that joke at one of the times I was getting ready to speak, and then some guys, we kept kind of talking about it. I'm like, well, let's just do it. Let's have a little fun with it, and I'll explain what had happened. We had about 188 guys register. I've said before, 200 is our max. That's not, no one's put that on. So that's just the building size and the gym size. And if you've been there, you say, boy, I felt like we were pretty full as it was, and given all the elements, for sure we were. I think we probably had around 165, 170 people actually show up somewhere in there. I looked at the registration briefly to see who had checked in, and it was nearly everybody. There were some guys due to weather, due to what they do for a job connected to the weather, just were not able to make it. Some guys that, who knows what had transpired. Maybe you looked at the weather and said, not a chance, I'm not doing that. So you say, what are you getting at? Well, we had a hurricane. Now, I remember on Wednesday of that week, someone had sent me a message and said, I think we need plan B for the guys who are camping out. We're supposed to get strong winds and heavy rain because of this hurricane. Now, I don't know where you listen to this or watch this episode at, but we are in Indianapolis, Indiana. I don't know my lifetime living in Iowa, or and I think we're fairly close on the map as far as directionally how it lays out, getting a hurricane. I think someone else even said here, I don't remember ever getting what we got there. And maybe guys have been here longer say, yeah, back in 98 we got something. Well, we did. We got the rain, no question about it. And I'll tell you what, in spite of the rain and in spite of the hurricane winds, there were still people that camped out. Good for you. Good for you. I will say on Friday night, I finally tapped out and I went home just so I was a little bit more ready on Saturday. So we had a hurricane going on. We had winds going. Tents were folding. Tents were blowing across our fields. We have a neighborhood that's kind of behind us, and I believe somebody said one of the fences had a tent, kind of pinned up against that. If you were to see our dumpster today, because it hasn't got picked up yet, it looks like a FEMA effort. I'm telling you, it is wild what happened. But again, there were a couple of them that did make it through. They did, what's that song? Wind blew, waves, whatever. My hope is whatever. Yeah, that's kind of what we were doing in real time. So I know like somewhere during the day and somewhere right after dinner, and there were guys out there just trying to help people either save their tent or toss it in the dumpster, either way. And then as we got closer, so everybody's inside for the most part. There are kids outside, still people outside. We're men. We don't mind getting wet, but some of this was ridiculous. As we're getting closer, I think the countdown was around 9 minutes. Fire alarm goes off. Why not? And as we're outside, one of the police officers that was there said, now it's this outlet out here. Now, this part of the church had been here for every bit of 40, 50 years. But for that day, that outlet got too much water in it or something, and it blew, popped, I don't know. So as they were kind of reconciling that and figuring out the fire alarm, whatever, I walk in these doors and I'm talking to this guy, Travis. And Travis asked me, well, what's going on? I explained to him. He said, that doesn't make sense. And in an instant, I remember Travis as a fireman. I said, you want to take a look at it? He said, yes, I do. So we get Travis out there. He's looking at it. As we come down the hallway to look at some things, there's a guy named Kyle from Georgia. He's just soaked. So what happened to you? He said, I'm out there in tent recovery. He was helping guys recover their tents. And so he's a fireman. He jumped in. And so we had all that going on. So remind you, we have a hurricane going on. We have fire alarms going off. We have an outlet that went. We think we solved, I think the outlet out front and the fire alarms going off were two separate issues happening at the exact same time. I don't like to give Satan credit, ever, if possible. However, in that instant, doggone, he was doing everything he could. We had two decisions that night. We had two men, one young man, one regular man, come to know Jesus. They surrendered to Jesus. They went into the waters of baptism. They were buried with Christ. They were raised to walk in a new life. They made the great profession of faith. And the young man, his father baptized him. And it was such a cool moment to get to see all this. His dad's girlfriend was trying to get there, and I'm going to speed it up. I know her GPS quit working and her Airbnb had no power. You're saying, boy, you come to a city that you've never been to and you can't get around. You're in the midst of hurricane winds and rain, and there's power down everywhere. You're driving in the dark, and you're trying to find a church in the city. Good luck. Well, she got there, and it all worked out there. And then the guy who got baptized, I say he's a regular aged man. I don't even know middle aged. I don't know what you call it. Sorry about that, Jason. He got baptized by his point man. Another special moment. And point men are things we do in tribes. So, there's a lot that transpires at the men's retreat in a very short time. I had someone tell me that once. They say, man, there's so much that happens in a short time. These guys travel so far. It'd be great if we could do more things. And I wholeheartedly agree. Right now, I don't know where that would fit. I know when it's done at noon on Saturday, the kitchen team is exasperated. They start making food throughout the days leading up to it, but I've been told the hardest meal for them to make, and maybe you guys are men's breakfast people, is breakfast. They say it's way harder, and you're tired, it's earlier. But the problem we were having too is we had this box out front, which is we have showers and toilets in there. Maybe something you would pull up to a place that had needed disaster relief, which would be us this year. And what was happening is because of some miscommunication, some other things, it was drawing so much power from the building that every time they tried to make food inside, it kept flipping breakers. If you were at the retreat, there were fried potatoes and things that were supposed to be there. It's just every time they plugged it in or turned two microwaves on at the same time, breakers were flipping. And they know We got a bunch of people walking in here at 8 o'clock. We got to get this thing going. So coffee, breakfast, whatever. So looking at that, I totally understand that. Would love to do it longer. And here's the other thing we would love to do is do more of these. They wouldn't necessarily look like this. I think this would be the fall one. And then maybe a few times throughout the year, it may look like a very much smaller experience. We talked about that Saturday. Maybe you get 20 guys there and you kind of do it a bit different. Maybe you can do a little more intentional hiking or whatever the area would call for, if that makes sense. So I do want to say this. There are a lot of pictures on social media, and some of you have seen them if you're connected to POM or me personally, and you'll say, yeah, I was at the retreat. I don't remember that. As a matter of fact, my son said that. There's a picture he was looking at on my computer. He said, when did that happen? Let me tell you what happens here. So I talk a lot about Tribe, and we talked about it on Saturday. We do every year. We talk about Tribe a little bit, but this year we talked about Tribe Builder. And that was different. I appreciate Stephen from Maryland coming up and giving us a glimpse, kind of pulling the curtain back on what he's been doing with his tribe in Maryland. So some of the guys got to hear that. But in Tribe, there's a unique brotherhood. There really is. And if you've ever been in it, you know what I'm talking about. And if you've ever come to anything that men in Tribe are coming to, then you know what I'm talking about. And it's very interesting, these guys who are in Tribe and they're having these experiences, even them coming to the retreat, they're still nervous. Or grown men will say, I just didn't know if I'd fit in. Or you guys seem like you had known each other for so long. I wasn't in on the inside jokes or the nicknames or whatever. Hey, welcome. Everybody's in, right? Everybody that's in Tribe is in. So I hopefully you understand that, but let me get to this, that with Tribe, this brotherhood is very unique. It really is. And I brag on the men in Tribe every chance I get. I don't brag on me. I brag on the men in Tribe. And I brag on the stories I hear from them. Maybe it's from their spouse saying, here's what he's doing at home with me and my kids and whatever. Or, hey, he got in his car and he drove to that place to do that with that guy, or they met up here. I mean, I brag on these guys all the time because it's very real. The brotherhood is very, very real. And often I'll hear, I just don't know if I want something online. And I get it, but we live in a world that uses online. And so we're going to use online and we're going to use face-to-face. Because we use online, we do long for face-to-face. And there's a number of people doing face-to-face different things. And again, I'll go back to Tribe Builder. That's the intent of that. However, men in Tribe are continually coming in earlier and earlier to the retreat. And I believe that's a good thing. And so, we've had a guy the last couple of years, I believe he comes in on Sunday or Monday. Another guy came in on Monday. Guys start coming in, pretty consistently on Wednesday, Thursday, and then obviously Friday, and then Friday the retreat started this year at 3:30. So the guys that come in on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, there's a number of times we are putting them to work a little bit. Hey, we need to move those 6 tables down there. Would you guys help with that? Hey, we need to do this. And I'll tell you what, they jump in, and it's pretty cool to see. My wife was telling me about a guy named Luke from Virginia that was, I believe it was on Saturday, said, hey, is there something we can do? And I don't know, I think it was tables or chairs or something. She said, man, I turned around and he had a whole team of guys and they were moving this stuff, and she was so appreciative of him and them doing that. And so when guys come in on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever day it is, we don't put them to work the whole time naturally. So we started to talk about what are some things we can do. We do some hikes during the week. So we'll say, okay, at this day, we're going to do this. We're meeting here. We're going here. And it's a great time to fellowship and connect. And the hikes are not too arduous or anything. It's just, we're in a city. So we have a state park that we use, and we do that. We have some lunches we do. Hey, on this day, we're going to go meet at this place at this time. If you're rolling in town, come on in. Usually because there's so many of us, they stick us in an area where, guys can just walk up and grab a seat somewhere, or pull one up. And so we try to do that, or we try to, get as many tables as we can. And we are a force to be reckoned with when we roll into a restaurant. On Friday at lunch, we go to a place called Joella's. I call them ahead of time. Hey, we're going to have 50, 60 guys come to this place. Just want to give you a heads up. Joella's does a fantastic job of getting us through. I think this year we had 57 guys on Friday. I was thinking the picture we took on Friday, we had 35 guys hiking, 57 at Joella's. That just tells you something. No, as guys come in, they just go straight there. And so when you look at some of these pictures, you say, I don't remember that. I don't remember the guy on Thursday night talking about what men do and those things. I know, because those are Tribe specific things because of the community, because of what they're doing. And again, they've been coming in town earlier and earlier. We say, hey, we want to have something specific for them. And so we have a communication that goes to them. And but when we come together for retreat, we're one group of guys come to the retreat. This started on the first year where I think I had maybe 8 guys at my house. We had like 4 Domino's pizzas and a couple key lime pies. Somebody brought it from Florida. We drank some soda. We sat in lawn chairs and sat around a fire and talked a minute. And I thought, man, that's pretty cool. The next year when they came to my house, I think we had 40-some guys. And I thought, we need a change of plans. And then this year, I think we had, I don't remember what, somebody was guessing, 50-something. And we ordered 30 pizzas and we hung out at the church. And so you get the point of what I'm saying. There are some things that we do in that community that we can communicate within that group of guys and say, hey, here's what we're going to do and what time we're going to do it. One of those things, and this is what I want to wrap up with, is something we do in a Quiet Life community. Anyone can do this. It's called Coffee with Christ. Is there a reading plan? Not right now. In the summer there was, but right now, no. And all you simply do is you take a picture of you with your Bible open, forgive me, your journal. I got my baton. They got some names written on. I got a cup of coffee, and bam, I put it in there and say Coffee of Christ. Today was Mark 1. Drop it in there. I maybe put a verse in there, maybe not. And it's a way that we just keep that conversation going briefly. Guys get to see, where you're at, whatever. Sometimes we're in better locations than others, if that makes sense, on vacation, hunting, wherever. You're at Coffee of Christ today. And it's a way that we keep that going. Anybody can do that. Any guy can get in a Quiet Life community and do that. We try to keep that conversation going in that group periodically to try to, hey, this is an area of focus, or this is something we're curious about. But with that said, one of the men in Tribe had reached out to me a couple days earlier before the retreat and said, hey, what if we did Coffee with Christ collectively at the retreat? So every day at the retreat, there are some guys that naturally get up earlier and they drink a cup of coffee and they talk to each other, and it's good. But he was saying, hey, what if we do that? But what if we get the Bible out and we kind of circle up and we read through whatever we're reading in Tribe, which at this particular point was Amos. Not an easy thing to go through with men, chapter a day. I think it was 6, 7, 8 that we probably covered at the retreat, maybe 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe. That sounds like a dance team now. I think that's what we were covering, because we did it Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And in my mind, when he said this, I saw 6, 7 guys kind of in the dark, sitting in camping chairs around a fire that was smoldering from the night before, maybe. I know you're supposed to put those out. And reading and kind of talking and then going about our day. No, not at all. I think the first day we might have had 15 guys in there. And then after that, I took a picture. I don't know how many's in that group. I said 45. It could be less. It could be more. It doesn't matter. The point is, it just kept growing. So if you're at the retreat and you walked in and said, hey, I don't remember this on the schedule, it wasn't. Maybe we need to put it on the schedule as an opportunity to invite you to something like that. You don't have to. I know staying at Airbnbs and hotels and things, you got to commute and you got to drive farther to get here. Well, we do our best to get that coffee going before you walk in. But to me, and I made a video to the guys in Tribe last night in our challenge video saying, I love the community. Brag on Jesus, brag on Tribe. I mean, those are two things to me that I try to do as much as I can. And I told you earlier about bragging on the guys in Tribe. But that, to me, that's it. That is an image of what this thing is about. We are about community. I've said it for 8 years now, whatever it is, community within the content. I want to create content for you to be impressed with me, or you to have a hoorah about men or whatever, and then not do something with it. We build community within the content, but our focus is Christ. So we say Coffee with Christ. We're opening our Bible, get a cup of coffee, get a energy drink, get a water, get whatever you drink, and we're going to meet with our Savior. And today I was in Mark 1. I'm going to listen, I'm going to read, I'm going to write some things down. But that image of doing that within community was so good. And I think one of the guys said, and there's probably others, but he said, I look at Coffee with Christ different now. And that's the goal. Can we collectively come together, help each other get in the Word daily, grow, consider it, to have guys sit around early in the morning, talk about Amos 5, 6, 7, and 8. That's pretty cool. So men, that's just some thoughts on the retreat. We survived it. There were so many good things. I've said it. I've heard some other people say it. I think it was the best one yet. And I don't know if it was all the things that were overcame. I don't know if it's because you overcame so much to get here, and when you're here, you're like, no, I'm gonna enjoy this. I don't know what it was. Certainly, it's the Lord's doing. I think it was the best one yet, and we're already considering. I shouldn't say considering. The plans are already there for the Fall Retreat 2025, October 3rd and 4th. Same place, here in Indianapolis. The church where I serve, Castleton Christian Church, will host it. Same plan. Pray against the weather. Pray for good weather. Pray for the right people. I said at the retreat, and I'll say it again, I pray all year for you guys that are going to come to this thing. I pray before I start this. I pray for the computer. I pray for the mic. I pray for the camera. The guys that will listen, the guys that will watch. The Lord's going to do what he's going to do, and we know that he wins. Amen. Thank you for listening. Thank you guys who watch, share the show, send emails, feedback, whatever. Let's keep pursuing biblical manliness.